Hello and welcome to Who It Could Have Been, where every week we take a look at a famous actor or actress who was up for a big role, but for one reason or another they didn't quite get it. Whether they've been better, worse, or
What the hell was that? You know, the only thing worse than that was that time where you auditioned to be Salah's cousin in Indiana Jones 5 as the one who peddles the camels. That would have been that was a rough time for you.
Yeah, Fala. It's a little known but unseen character. Camel herder.
Fala is well, no, like I picture, you say herder, I picture like, you know, kind of like a used car salesman type. My friend, come here. See this camel. He's only 10 years old.
You see, on a previous Who It Could Have Been, we talked about Danny DeVito. That would have been Danny DeVito as a Salah-inspired used car salesman. I could see that.
I was not expecting to make a breakthrough on that comment, but we'll move on.
Well, quite recently in another Who It Could Have Been, we tackled our first Who It Could Have Been actor for a voice role with Steve Martin as the genie in Aladdin. Today we're returning to the pool of the Disney Renaissance, where we're going to be looking at Beauty and the Beast, where I have a couple of famous actors in line, and I kind of want to see, do you think that the film would have been as strong or even Oscar nominated if these actors were in these roles? And first off, I'm going to talk about Mrs. Potts, who famously played by Angela Lansbury. I think that her delivery of Beauty and the Beast, the Oscar-winning song alone, just her singing of it, is probably what clinched the Oscar for that song.
No question.
What are your thoughts? Can you imagine anybody else playing Mrs. Potts other than Danny DeVito?
Stop it. No, obviously the correct answer is Gilbert Gottfried. No. No.
You're gonna make me use that Gilbert Gottfried singing clip from Return of Jafar again?
And you'll never get enough. Just forget about love.
I'm thinking Robin Williams as Mrs. Doubtfire. No, I'm actually stalling is what I'm doing.
Which I can actually see that Robin Williams was doing a part Angela Lansbury impersonation for that.
Yeah, that didn't make that wasn't among the list, but that would have been strong. I'm not going to front on that, but maybe Betty White, but beyond that, I got nothing for you.
You need somebody that's a very, very strong singer,
and that is not Betty White. I understand.
It's not Betty White, but it is Julie Andrews. She was considered for the role of Mrs. Potts.
This is one of those where somebody thought person in their twilight, female singing, duh, it makes a lot of sense.
With a history in classic Disney, which they both had.
Right. Well played. Here's where I struggle is in the case of Murder, She Wrote, Angela Lansbury was seen portrayed. And I mean, basically, I know the voice of Angela Lansbury both as a Ute in The Court Jester and of a particular age from at least the trailers of Murder, She Wrote in the 80s, okay? I don't know the voice of Julie Andrews as a woman of a certain age. So this is a tough evaluation for me. But on the surface, I doubt it would have been bad. Certainly the singing would have been at least equal, if not better. But would the sound acting itself within the movie be as good? I don't know that. I can't answer that question.
She has done voice roles, most recently in Aquaman, of course, in Shrek 2.
I'll put it this way. Mrs. Potts is supposed to be a bit more blue collar. And what Angela Lansbury brings is that the Cockney version, right, so to speak. Even though she's supposed to be French, whatever. But the
I don't know if Cockney is the right word, but I see where you're going.
Yeah, no.
If they're going for Cockney, Dick Van Dyke, I'm sure, was available.
I was also trying to set you up for that joke because as we're talking about a woman of a particular age, that bringing up someone named Dick Van Dyke only makes it funnier. But we can have a coffee talk about that later. What I'm trying to tell you is this, Demos. Julie Andrews comes in. Let's just put it this way. She's less tale as old as time and more bibbity boppity boo based on my impression of it. I'm just saying.
I don't necessarily disagree. When I think of the two actresses, and they're both fantastic. I mean, hell, when they couldn't get Julie Andrews to come back for a cameo in Mary Poppins Returns, they got Angela Lansbury, who had been in Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Unrelated character, but I see why they went for that. When I think of Angela Lansbury, I think of, and don't get this twisted, I think of a warm hug.
Yeah.
When I think of Julie Andrews, I think of somebody who's very proper. Very proper, very aristocratic. Not to say that Angela Lansbury isn't very proper, but she has, through her voice and her inflection, she's much more approachable.
Nobody would ever use the term somewhat cockneyed to describe her.
Exactly. So I think that Angela Lansbury has an edge here. And as much as I love and adore Julie Andrews, I think that Angela Lansbury was the proper choice in this, because in many ways, her character is that warm hug in that film to offset the wacky antics of Cogsworth and the debonair Lumiere. She's perfect for it. But speaking of Cogsworth, now we know that David Ogden Stiers provided the voice of Cogsworth. Kyle at one point talked about his angelic voice as Ratcliffe in Pocahontas. This actor was the first choice to play and voice Cogsworth, but he turned it down instead to do a voice for An American Tale 2: Fievel Goes West.
Oh, God, what a crime.
Which opened the same day as Beauty and the Beast, the first ever noted time where two major animated films came out on the same day.
Wow. You got your ass whooped by the bench quarterback. That's unfortunate.
John Cleese.
I'm never going to say no to John Cleese in that context. Are you kidding me? The Cogsworth they had is good. I do think John Cleese would be better, but I'm not. It's not one of those where I'm going to be like, ooh, as has happened on the show before. Nah, yeah, I could see it. Obviously, my lukewarm response is, I'm like, do you really improve on Cogsworth? Do you really improve on Lumiere? I mean, let's be clear. For the live action versions, they got Ian McKellen to do it, and that went fine in its own right. Yeah,
the voice actors weren't the worst part of Beauty and the Beast. I will agree with you on that.
Listen, the worst part is what they did to Gaston in the live action, and we're just going to leave it there. I'm not having that connection again. But
Kevin Kline was the only good thing, redeeming thing about that remake.
Fantastic in the live action remake. I cannot get enough of it. Well played, Demosthenes. Kevin Kline could pretty much be anybody in that movie, except possibly Belle, but with some auto tuning adjustments. I really think he could do that too. I'm kidding. No, Kevin Kline's great. We'll leave that at that. I could do a whole episode going off on a tangent on the underrated gem that is Kevin Kline.
Let's get back to the animated version. This is my one thing about John Cleese. Yes, he would have been perfect for the role.
Of course.
Yes, I could easily see him do it, and in many ways, I could see how the character was modeled for somebody like John Cleese to voice him.
But would he be the right straight man for Lumiere at that point? I don't know.
I think John Cleese could definitely pull it off, 100%. I have no doubt about it. Here's my issue. I like, and this is more truer for the older animated films than it is of new ones.
Okay.
I like the fact that when I think of Cogsworth, I think of Cogsworth. John Cleese, watching him perform as Cogsworth, I would be thinking John Cleese. He's very, very distinct. There's no, he would have to pull off a Robin Williams level of a performance to disappear into that character, and Cogsworth is not that prominent of a character to give him that opportunity.
So if John Cleese does the voicing, the character is doomed from moment one.
I'm not saying doomed. No. I'm just saying that I think that it was better to have David Ogden Stiers in the role.
Based on that description, if that's the problem, I know you're not saying it. I am. The moment you paint that picture and that's what has to be overcome, the character's doomed.
I don't think it's a deal breaker though, but I think that part of the beauty of Beauty and the Beast, a film which is touted as being tale as old as time, it's good to have characters in it that live and breathe on their own and feel classic. not something that automatically you hear that voice and you feel, oh, it's contemporary.
Listen, you son of a bitch. John Cleese's voice is a damn classic. You better get right.
It is a classic, but not by 1700s standards. All right.
So you say.
Unless you go all the way back to the birth of Jesus and Life of Brian, then he fits again.
Thank you.
So I think in this particular case, at least speaking for myself, I think that Angela Lansbury and David Ogden Stiers were the better choices.
I could say, well, yeah, I guess I'm agreeing to that. Yeah.
All right. Let us know. What do you guys think? Would they have been better, worse, or, as I said before,
Would Demos have a better shot being Salah's cousin peddling camels?
Fala. I don't know if I could beat Dan DeVito, but let us know.